After 16 years of loyal service, my boss replaced me with Jessica Torres, a woman half my age who supposedly had fresh ideas for our financial company. But when I found hidden documents with her signature dated 3 months before she was even hired, I realized she wasn't just my replacement. She was part of something much darker that could destroy the lives of every client who trusted us with their retirement savings. What would you do if you discovered the person who stole your job was actually stealing millions of dollars from innocent people? My coffee mug hit the floor and shattered into pieces. Director Hamilton had just told me I was fired. After 16 years at Meridian Financial, they were throwing me away like yesterday's newspaper. "Robert, we need to talk," Hamilton had said when he called me into his office that Monday morning. His voice sounded different. Cold. Mean. Nothing like the friendly boss who used to ask about my family. The sun was shining through the big windows of our Phoenix office building. Outside, people walked to work just like any normal day. But inside this room, my whole world was falling apart. "We're making some changes," Hamilton continued. He wouldn't look at me. His eyes kept moving around the room like he was scared to meet mine. "The company is going in a new direction." My hands started shaking. 16 years. I had given this company 16 years of my life. I missed my daughter's school plays for this job. I worked weekends. I stayed late when everyone else went home. I brought in more money for this company than anyone else in my department. "You're letting me go?" I asked. My voice came out like a whisper. Hamilton finally looked at me. His face was hard. No emotion at all. "We're bringing in Jessica Torres. She's young. Fresh ideas. She went to a really good business school." Jessica Torres. I had never heard that name before. But apparently, she was taking my job, my office, my clients, everything I had worked for. "How old is she?" I asked. "That doesn't matter," Hamilton said quickly. Too quickly. Age has nothing to do with this decision. But I could see it in his eyes. It had everything to do with age. I was 48 years old. Jessica Torres was probably young enough to be my daughter. "What about my clients?" I asked. "Mr. Williams has been with me for 12 years. Mrs. Johnson trusts me with her retirement money. They won't understand." Hamilton shrugged. "They'll adjust. Jessica is very smart. She'll figure it out." Figure it out? These weren't math problems. These were real people with real money. People who trusted me. People who called me when they were scared about their future. "When do I leave?" I asked. "Today," Hamilton said. "Security will help you pack your things." Security. Like I was some kind of criminal. Like I had done something wrong. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. "Can I at least say goodbye to my team?" "Better to keep it simple," Hamilton said. "Clean break." Clean break. That's what they called destroying someone's life. Walking back to my desk felt like walking to my own funeral. Everyone was staring at me. They knew. Word travels fast in an office. By now, everyone knew that Robert was getting kicked out. My desk looked the same as always. Pictures of my family. The coffee mug my daughter made me in art class. Award from the company for being their best salesman 3 years in a row. Now it all seemed fake. I started putting things in a box. The security guard stood next to me like I might steal something. After 16 years of making this company rich, they thought I was a thief. "Take your time," the security guard said. But his voice said the opposite. It said, "Hurry up and get out." As I packed, I noticed something weird. The office next to mine was being set up for someone new. There were boxes everywhere. A new computer, a new chair, even new plants. "Who's moving in there?" I asked Janet, the secretary. She looked nervous. "The new girl. Jessica something." "When does she start?" "Next week, I think." But the office was already ready. Like they had been planning this for weeks. Maybe months. How long had Hamilton been planning to fire me? I picked up my family pictures. My wife, Sarah, smiling on our wedding day. My daughter, Emma, at her high school graduation. How was I going to tell them I lost my job? How was I going to pay for Emma's college? The worst part wasn't losing my job. The worst part was feeling stupid. I had trusted Hamilton. I thought we were friends. I thought all those years of hard work meant something. But companies don't care about loyalty. They don't care about friendship. They only care about money. As I carried my box to the elevator, I saw Hamilton watching me from his office window. He wasn't smiling, but he wasn't sad either. He looked relieved, like getting rid of me was something he had been wanting to do for a long time. The elevator doors closed. 16 years of my life disappeared behind those metal doors. But Hamilton made one big mistake. He thought I would just walk away quietly. He thought I would give up. He was wrong. That night, I went back to clean out my filing cabinet. The building was dark and empty. Perfect time to think without anyone bothering me. Hidden behind my bottom drawer, I found something that made my heart race. Papers that weren't supposed to be there. Numbers that didn't make sense. Financial reports with dates from last month, but I had never seen them before. The papers were folded and stuck way back in the corner, like someone had hidden them there and forgot about them. My hands were shaking as I looked through the pages. These were official company documents, bank statements, client account summaries, but the numbers were all wrong. According to these papers, our biggest client had moved $2 million last month, but I handled that client's account. No money had moved anywhere. The client was on vacation in Europe. More papers showed money going to companies I had never heard of. Payment for services that didn't exist. Contracts signed by people who didn't work here anymore. Someone was stealing money from our clients. A lot of money. At the very bottom of the pile was a signature page. The name written in blue ink made my blood stop flowing. Jessica Torres. The same Jessica Torres who was taking my job. But this signature was dated 3 months ago. She had been working here in secret. While I was bringing in new clients and winning awards, she had been learning how to steal money. And Hamilton knew about it. They didn't fire me because I was too old. They fired me because I was too honest. I would have caught their stealing eventually. I always checked the numbers twice. But Jessica was part of their plan. She wasn't here to do my job better. She was here to help them steal money without getting caught. I took pictures of every paper with my phone. If Hamilton thought he could get rid of me and cover up his crimes, he was about to learn a hard lesson. Hamilton had made his first mistake when he fired me. But hiding stolen money in my filing cabinet was his second mistake. Jessica Torres wasn't just my replacement. She was Hamilton's partner in crime. Sleep was impossible that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jessica's signature on those stolen money papers. My wife, Sarah, was snoring softly next to me, but my mind was racing like a car with broken brakes. At 5 in the morning, I gave up trying to sleep. I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop. If Jessica Torres was a criminal, there would be evidence online. People like her always leave tracks. The first thing I found made my stomach drop. Jessica's LinkedIn page showed she had worked at 3 different companies in the past 4 years. But here's the scary part. All 3 companies had closed down after she left. Not just closed. Shut down by the government for stealing money. Sterling Investment Group in Denver closed 6 months after Jessica left. The news articles said they stole over $3 million from retirement accounts. Pacific Financial Services in Seattle closed 8 months after Jessica left. The FBI found fake bank statements and missing client money. Mountain Trust Corporation in Las Vegas closed 1 year after Jessica left. The owner went to prison for fraud. Jessica wasn't just changing jobs. She was jumping from company to company, stealing money, then running away before anyone could catch her. But wait, there was something else that made my blood freeze. Hamilton's name was on the financial reports for 2 of those companies. Not as an employee, as a consulting auditor. The person companies hire to check their books and make sure everything is legal. Hamilton had been working with Jessica for years. They were like a team of bank robbers, but instead of robbing banks, they robbed investment companies. I printed out everything I could find. News articles, court documents, business registration papers. By the time Sarah woke up, I had a whole folder full of evidence. "Honey, what are you doing?" Sarah asked, shuffling into the kitchen in her bathrobe. "Research," I said. I couldn't tell her everything yet. Not until I was sure. About what? Work stuff. She poured herself coffee and sat down next to me. "Robert, you don't have work anymore. Remember? That hurt." But she was right. I didn't have work anymore. Hamilton had made sure of that. "I'm trying to understand why they fired me," I said. Sarah put her hand on my shoulder. "Sometimes companies just make bad decisions. You'll find something better." I want to tell her about the stolen money, about Jessica's criminal history, about Hamilton's lies. But I needed more proof first. After Sarah left for her job at the hospital, I called my old colleague Mike Stevens. Mike worked in our accounting department and knew all the company's financial systems. Robert, I heard what happened. I'm so sorry, man. Thanks, Mike. Can I ask you something? Off the record. Sure. Have you noticed anything weird with the client accounts lately? Any money moving around that doesn't make sense? Mike was quiet for a long time. Why are you asking? Just curious. Robert, I probably shouldn't be talking about this. Come on, Mike. We've worked together for 10 years. Another long pause. There have been some irregularities. Money transfers that I didn't approve. Account changes that happened overnight. What kind of changes? Client money getting moved to holding accounts, then disappearing completely. When I asked Hamilton about it, he said it was part of a new investment strategy. How much money? I'm not supposed to say. Mike, please. Over $4 million in the past 3 months. $4 million. That was more than I made in 10 years. Has anyone else noticed? Rebecca Santos in accounting. She's been asking questions too, but Hamilton told her to mind her own business. Hey, Rebecca Santos. I knew her. Smart woman. Careful with numbers. If she was asking questions, something was definitely wrong. Thanks, Mike. Don't tell anyone we talked. Robert, be careful. I think Hamilton is watching everyone now. After I hung up, I realized I wasn't just dealing with a bad boss anymore. I was dealing with professional criminals who had stolen millions of dollars. But criminals make mistakes. And Jessica Torres had already made her first mistake by leaving those papers in my filing cabinet. I spent the rest of the day researching financial fraud, how it works, how people get caught, how evidence gets collected. The FBI has a whole department that investigates financial crimes. They have special agents who understand money laundering and investment fraud, but they need evidence, real evidence, not just suspicious feelings. I had Jessica's signature on fake documents. I had proof that she worked at other companies that got shut down for fraud. I had Mike's testimony about missing money, but I needed more. That evening, I drove back to the Meridian Financial Building. The parking garage was mostly empty, perfect for what I had planned. I used my key card to get into the building. Hamilton had fired me, but the security system was slow. My card still worked. The elevator took me to the 15th floor. Our office was dark except for the security lights. I walked quietly to Hamilton's office. His door was locked, but I knew where he kept his spare key. Under his secretary's desk, in a little magnetic box. Hamilton's computer was still on. Password protected, but I knew Hamilton. He always used his dog's name and his birthday. Ranger 1975. The computer unlocked. I started looking through his email files. Most of it was boring business stuff, but then I found a folder labeled JT Projects. JT, Jessica Torres. The emails in that folder told the whole story. Hamilton and Jessica had been planning this for months. They knew exactly which clients had the most money. They knew exactly how to steal it without getting caught. And they knew exactly when to fire me, so I wouldn't discover their plan. But there was one email that made my hand shake. It was from Jessica to Hamilton, sent 2 days ago. Robert is getting too close. We need to move faster. They had been watching me. They knew I was suspicious. Firing me wasn't just about bringing in Jessica. It was about getting rid of the one person who might catch them before they could steal everything and disappear forever. Rebecca Santos was waiting for me at the coffee shop downtown, looking scared. Her hand was shaking as she stirred her coffee over and over again. Mike had convinced her to meet with me, but I could tell she didn't want to be here. "This is dangerous, Robert," she whispered, looking around like someone might be watching us. "If Hamilton finds out I'm talking to you, I'll lose my job too." "Rebecca, I found something big," I said, pulling out my folder of evidence. "Jessica Torres isn't who Hamilton says she is." Rebecca's eyes got wide as I showed her the news articles about Jessica's other jobs. The companies that got shut down. The missing money. The FBI investigations. "Oh my God," she said. I knew something was wrong. The numbers never made sense. "What numbers?" Rebecca looked around again, then leaned closer. 2 weeks ago, Hamilton asked me to create fake client statements. He said it was for a presentation to investors. But the accounts he wanted me to change, those clients have been moving their money out. Moving their money where? Offshore accounts. Places where it's hard to track. Rebecca pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots she had taken. "Look at this." Mrs. Patterson's retirement account shows $2 million, but the real balance is only $400,000. My stomach felt sick. Mrs. Patterson was 78 years old. That retirement money was all she had to live on. How many clients are affected? I asked. At least 20, maybe more. Rebecca's voice was getting quieter. Robert, they're not just stealing from the company. They're stealing from old people who trust us with their life savings. That made me angry, really angry. Hamilton wasn't just a bad boss. He was a monster who stole from grandmothers and grandfathers. We need to record him, I said. Get him to admit what he's doing. Ow! I pulled out my phone and showed her a recording app one had downloaded. My daughter Emma taught me how to use this. It records everything and saves it to the cloud automatically. Rebecca looked terrified. I can't. If he finds out, he's already stealing millions of dollars. Do you think he's going to stop? Or do you think he's going to keep stealing until every client has nothing left? Rebecca stared at her coffee for a long time. Finally, she nodded. What do you need me to do? Tomorrow, ask Hamilton about the Patterson account. Act confused about the numbers. Get him to explain why the statements don't match the real balances. And you'll be recording every word. Rebecca agreed to help, but I could see she was scared. As we left the coffee shop, I noticed a black car parked across the street. The same black car I'd seen outside my house that morning. Someone was following me. The next day, I hid in the empty office next to Hamilton's and turned on my recording app. Rebecca had scheduled a meeting with Hamilton at 2 o'clock to discuss accounting irregularities. Come in, Rebecca, I heard Hamilton say through the thin wall. His voice sounded friendly, but I knew better now. Mr. Hamilton, I have some questions about the client statements you asked me to prepare, Rebecca said. Her voice was shaky, but she was doing great. What kind of questions? Well, Mrs. Patterson's account shows $2 million, but when I check the actual bank records, there's only $400,000. I'm confused about where the missing money went. Hamilton was quiet for a few seconds. Then he laughed. Rebecca, you're thinking too much. Sometimes clients move money around for tax purposes. It's perfectly normal, but there's no record of any transfers. And it's not just Mrs. Patterson. The Johnson account, the Williams account, the Martinez account, they all show different amounts on the statements versus the real balances. Rebecca, Hamilton's voice got cold. I need you to stop asking these questions. But sir, if the clients found out, the clients will never find out, because you're going to keep your mouth shut. Do you understand me? Mr. Hamilton, I don't think this is legal. Legal? Hamilton laughed again, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Let me explain something to you, Rebecca. This company pays your salary. This company pays for your health insurance. This company pays for your son's daycare. Do you want to keep all of those things? Yes, sir. Then you'll stop asking questions. You'll do exactly what I tell you to do. And you'll forget we ever had this conversation. But what about the missing money? There is no missing money. There are only investment opportunities that our clients don't need to know about. Jessica Torres is handling the details. She's very good at making sure everything looks perfect on paper. Bingo. Hamilton had just admitted on tape that he was stealing money and using Jessica to cover it up. I understand, sir, Rebecca said. Good. And Rebecca, if you ever talk to anyone about this conversation, you'll be fired immediately. No differences. No severance pay. Nothing. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Excellent. Now get back to work. I heard footsteps and a door closing. A few minutes later, Rebecca knocked softly on my hiding spot. Did you get it? She whispered. I showed her my phone. The recording was 43 minutes long and crystal clear. What now? Rebecca asked. Now we call the FBI. But as we walked toward the elevator, Hamilton stepped out of his office. He looked at both of us with suspicion. Rebecca, who is this man? Hamilton asked, pointing at me. This is my cousin, Rebecca said quickly. He was just visiting. Hamilton stared at me for a long time. Your cousin looks familiar. Have we met before? I don't think so, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Hamilton kept staring. Well, visiting hours are over. Time to leave. As we walked to the elevator, I could feel Hamilton's eyes burning into my back. He knew something was wrong. He just didn't know what. But I had what I needed. Hamilton's confession was recorded and saved to the cloud. Even if something happened to my phone, the evidence would still exist. Rebecca and I rode the elevator down in silence. When we reached the parking garage, she grabbed my arm. Robert, I'm scared. What if he figures out what we did? He won't, I said, but I wasn't sure if that was true. As we walked to our cars, I noticed the black car again. This time, I could see the driver. It was a man in a suit with dark sunglasses. Hamilton wasn't just stealing money. He was having me followed. Things were about to get much more dangerous. My phone was missing. I tore apart my entire house looking for it. But the phone with Hamilton's confession was gone. Someone had broken into my home while I was at the grocery store and stolen the only proof I had. Sarah found me sitting on the kitchen floor, holding my head in my hands. "Honey, what's wrong?" she asked, sitting down next to me. "Someone was in our house," I said. "They took my phone. Are you sure? Maybe you left it somewhere." I looked at her sweet, trusting face. She had no idea that criminals were targeting our family. "Sarah, I need to tell you something. The people who fired me, they're not just bad bosses. They're thieves." "What do you mean?" I told her everything. About Jessica's criminal history. About the stolen client money. About Hamilton's confession that was now gone forever. Sarah's face went white. "Robert, we need to call the police." "And tell them what?" "That my missing phone had a recording of my former boss being mean. Without evidence, it's just my word against his." But I was wrong about the evidence being gone. When I logged into my cloud storage account on Sarah's laptop, the recording was still there. The thieves had taken my phone, but they couldn't steal the backup. "Thank God for technology," Sarah said, hugging me tight. I downloaded the recording and made copies on 3 different flash drives. Hamilton might be smart, but he wasn't smart enough to beat the cloud. The next morning, I called the FBI office in Phoenix. A woman named Agent Mitchell answered. "I'd like to report financial fraud at an investment company," I said. "What kind of fraud?" "Stolen client money. Fake bank statements. Money laundering. I have recordings of the people involved confessing to their crimes." Agent Mitchell suddenly sounded very interested. "Can you come in today?" "Yes, ma'am." The FBI office was bigger and scarier than I expected. Agent Mitchell was a serious woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes that made me feel like she could see right through me. "Tell me everything," she said, turning on a recorder. I told her about getting fired, about finding Jessica's signature on the hidden documents, about Jessica's history of working at companies that got shut down for fraud, about Hamilton's emails and his recorded confession. Agent Mitchell listened without saying a word. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Mr. Roberts, this is a very serious accusation. Do you understand that filing a false report with the FBI is a federal crime?" "Yes, ma'am. But I'm not filing a false report. Everything I told you is true. Let's hear the recording." I played Hamilton's confession on Sarah's laptop. Agent Mitchell's face didn't change, but I could see her taking lots of notes. "How did you obtain this recording?" she asked. "I was in the office next door while my colleague Rebecca Santos asked Hamilton about the missing client money." "Did Mr. Hamilton know he was being recorded?" "No, ma'am." Agent Mitchell frowned. "That could be a problem. Arizona is a 2-party consent state. Both people have to agree to be recorded, or the recording might not be allowed in court." My heart sank. "Does that mean the recording is useless?" "Not necessarily. If we can find other evidence that supports what's on the recording, it could still be valuable." Agent Mitchell asked me to leave copies of everything I had found. She said the FBI would investigate, but it might take weeks or months to build a strong case. In the meantime, she said, "Be very careful. If these people are as dangerous as you think they are, they might try to stop you from talking." "What should I do?" "Keep a low profile. Don't contact anyone from your old company. And call me immediately if anything strange happens." Driving home from the FBI office, I felt better than I had in days. Finally, someone in authority was taking me seriously. Finally, Hamilton and Jessica would face justice for what they had done. But my good mood disappeared when I saw the black car parked outside my house. I drove past my house and parked 2 blocks away. Then I called Sarah at the hospital. "Don't come home," I told her. "Go to your sister's house." "Why? What's wrong?" "The people I told you about. They're watching our house." "Robert, you're scaring me." "I know, but please just go to Linda's house. I'll call you when it's safe." I sat in my car for an hour, watching my house from a distance. The black car never moved. Whoever was inside was waiting for me to come home. Finally, my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. "Hello, Robert," said a voice I had never heard before. "My name is Nathan Cross. I'm the executive vice president at Meridian Financial. How did you get this number?" "I think we need to meet," Cross said, ignoring my question. "There seems to be some confusion about your departure from our company." "There's no confusion. Hamilton fired me to cover up his crimes." Cross laughed. "Crime? Robert, I think you've been watching too many detective shows. Hamilton fired you because your performance was declining. It's that simple. I have evidence." "Evidence of what?" "That you broke into our building after being terminated? That you stole confidential company documents? That you recorded private conversations without permission?" My blood ran cold. Cross knew everything I had done. "You seem surprised," Cross continued. "Did you really think we wouldn't notice? Did you think you could spy on us without consequences? I was protecting our clients from thieves. Our clients are perfectly safe. But you, Robert, you're the one who should be worried." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you have two choices. You can stop making false accusations against good people, or you can face the consequences of your actions." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm offering you a chance to walk away. Go home. Forget about Meridian Financial. Forget about Hamilton and Jessica. Start a new life somewhere else. And if I don't, then you'll discover that making enemies of powerful people is a very dangerous mistake." The phone went dead. I sat in my car, hands shaking, realizing that I wasn't just fighting Hamilton anymore. I was fighting the entire company. And they knew exactly where I lived. Police cars surrounded my house at 6 in the morning. I watched from Sarah's sister's window as officers knocked on my front door with papers in their hands. My neighbor, Mrs. Garcia, was outside watering her flowers, staring at all the commotion. "Robert, what's happening?" Sarah asked, still in her pajamas. "They're searching our house," I said. Cross wasn't kidding about consequences. Agent Mitchell called my phone 20 minutes later. Her voice was angry. "Robert, you didn't tell me everything. We just got a call from Meridian Financial. They're saying you stole company money and planted fake evidence to cover it up." "That's impossible. I never stole anything. They have security camera footage of you breaking into Hamilton's office. They have computer logs showing you access client accounts without permission. And they have witness statements saying you threatened other employees." My heart was pounding. "It's all lies. They're trying to frame me." "Maybe, but the evidence looks real." "I'm sorry, Robert, but we can't move forward with your case right now. If you're arrested for theft, anything you gave us becomes worthless in court." "Agent Mitchell, please. You have to believe me. I want to believe you. But right now, you look like a criminal trying to blame innocent people for your own crimes." The phone went dead. I stared at the black screen, feeling hopeless. Cross had played this perfectly. While I was gathering evidence against them, they were gathering evidence against me. Sarah put her arm around me. "What do we do now?" "I don't know." But then I remembered something. Rebecca Santos wasn't just scared when we met at the coffee shop. She was smart, really smart, and she had access to the company's computer systems. I called Rebecca's cell phone. She answered on the first ring. "Robert, thank God you called. They're saying terrible things about you at work." "Rebecca, I need your help. They're trying to frame me for stealing money." "I know. Hamilton called a meeting this morning and said you hacked into the client accounts and stole $2 million. That's impossible. I don't even know the passwords to those accounts." "I know it's impossible because I know who really stole that money." "What do you mean?" Rebecca's voice got quiet. After our recording session, I started watching Hamilton and Jessica more carefully. They've been staying late every night, working on something secret. So I hid a tiny camera in the conference room. "You did what?" "My ex-husband was a private detective. He taught me about surveillance equipment before we got divorced. Anyway, I caught them on video transferring money from client accounts to offshore banks." "Rebecca, you're amazing. But there's more. Cross isn't just the vice president. He owns those offshore banks. This whole operation belongs to him. Hamilton and Jessica are just his employees." Everything made sense now. Cross wasn't protecting Hamilton and Jessica. He was protecting himself. This wasn't just a few people stealing money. This was an entire criminal organization. Can you give me copies of those videos? I asked. Already done. I uploaded everything to a private cloud account. Even if they fire me and take my computer, the evidence is safe. We need to get this to the FBI. That's going to be hard. I heard Cross talking to someone on the phone. He has friends in the police department. People who owe him favors. What kind of favors? The kind that make evidence disappear and witnesses forget what they saw. This was worse than I thought. Cross wasn't just a corporate criminal. He had corrupt cops working for him. Rebecca, meet me at the public library downtown in 1 hour. Bring everything you have. What if they're watching me too? Then we'll be extra careful. The Phoenix Public Library was busy with families and students. Perfect place to blend in and not be noticed. Rebecca arrived carrying a backpack full of flash drives and printed documents. This is everything, she said, spreading papers across our table. Bank records, email conversations, video footage, client account statements. Enough evidence to put them all in prison for life. How did you get all this without them noticing? I pretended to be working on a special project for Cross. He gave me access to everything because he thought I was too scared to look at the real numbers. I studied the documents. The amount of stolen money was shocking. Over $15 million taken from more than 50 clients. Most of them were retired people who trusted Meridian Financial with their life savings. Rebecca, this isn't just fraud. This is organized crime. I know, and there's something else you need to see. She showed me a document that made my blood run cold. It was a list of names titled Problem Employees. My name was at the top, followed by 3 other people I had worked with for years. What happened to the other people on this list? I asked. They all got fired in the past 6 months. Different reasons each time. Poor performance, downsizing, restructuring. But really, they were all asking too many questions about missing money. Where are they now? I don't know. But I heard Hamilton telling Jessica that some problems needed to be solved permanently. The way she said permanently made me scared for those people. And scared for myself. We have to get this to someone we can trust, I said. Who? If Cross has friends in the police department, how do we know who's safe? I thought about all the crime shows Sarah watched on TV. When local police couldn't be trusted, people went to federal agents. Agent Mitchell might not believe me right now, I said, but she'll have to believe this evidence. What if Cross finds out we have all this? Then we better move fast. As we packed up the documents, I noticed a man in a business suit sitting 2 tables away. He was pretending to read a newspaper, but his eyes were watching us. Rebecca, don't look behind you, but I think we're being followed. What do? We split up. You take half the evidence and go straight to the FBI office. I'll take the other half and go a different direction. If they follow me, they won't get you. Robert, what if something happens to you? Then you make sure these criminals go to prison. Rebecca squeezed my hand. You're a good man, Robert. I'm sorry they fired you. Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. If I still worked there, I never would have discovered the truth. As we left the library through different doors, I could see the man in the suit talking on his phone. Cross's people had found us, but they were too late. The evidence was already on its way to the FBI. 3 black SUVs pulled up to the Meridian Financial Building at exactly 9 o'clock Monday morning. I watched from across the street as FBI agents in bulletproof vests walked through the front doors. Agent Mitchell had called me 20 minutes earlier with 2 simple words, "It's time." Rebecca had made it to the FBI office safely on Friday afternoon. When Agent Mitchell saw the videos of Cross, Hamilton, and Jessica transferring stolen money, everything changed. The case went from suspicious accusations to federal criminal investigation in 1 hour. We've been watching the building all weekend, Agent Mitchell had told me on the phone. Cross tried to destroy evidence, but it was too late. We already had everything we needed. My phone buzzed with a text from Rebecca. They're arresting Hamilton now. He's in handcuffs. 5 minutes later, Jessica is crying. They're reading her rights. 10 minutes after that, Cross tried to run out the back door. They caught him in the parking garage. Watching my former workplace getting raided by the FBI felt strange. Part of me was happy that justice was finally happening. But part of me was sad that a company I had loved for 16 years was really just a criminal organization. My phone rang. It was Agent Mitchell. "Robert, we got them. All three of them are under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, money laundering, and theft. Cross is also being charged with witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. What about the clients who lost money? The stolen funds were still in the offshore accounts. We're working with international banks to get every penny back to the victims. And Rebecca? She's a hero. Without her evidence, we never could have proven the case. We're recommending her for the FBI's Civilian Service Award. What about me? Am I still in trouble for the things they accused me of? Agent Mitchell laughed. Robert, those charges were completely fake. The security footage was edited. The computer logs were manufactured. Cross had his people create false evidence to frame you. All of those charges have been dropped. Relief flooded through my body like warm water. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe normally. There's something else, Agent Mitchell continued. The victims of this fraud want to meet you. When they found out that you risked everything to expose the truth, they asked if they could thank you personally. They don't need to thank me. I just did what was right. That's exactly why they want to thank you. 2 days later, I sat in a hotel conference room with 37 elderly people whose retirement money had been stolen. Mrs. Patterson, the 78-year-old woman whose account Rebecca had shown me, was crying as she hugged me. You saved my life, she said. Without my retirement money, I would have lost my house. I would have had nothing. Mr. Williams, my client for 12 years, shook my hand firmly. Robert, I always knew you were honest. That's why I trusted you with my life savings. And you proved that trust was right. One by one, they thanked me. They told me how scared they had been when they found out their money was gone. They told me how grateful they were that someone had fought for them. Most people would have just walked away, said Mrs. Johnson. But you didn't give up on us. You never give up on family, I said. And that's what you all are to me. Family. After the meeting, I drove to a different coffee shop across town. This one had a help wanted sign in the window. Are you hiring for any finance positions? I asked the manager. Actually, yes. We're opening a new community credit union next month. We need someone to run the investment department. Someone with experience helping regular people manage their money. I have 16 years of experience in financial services. Great. But I have to ask, why did you leave your last job? I smiled. I discovered that my boss was stealing from clients. So I helped the FBI put him in prison. The manager's eyes got wide. Seriously? Seriously. You're hired. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new office at Phoenix Community Credit Union, helping a young couple plan for their first home purchase. The work was similar to what I did at Meridian Financial, but everything felt different. Better. My clients weren't just account numbers. They were my neighbors. People from my community who needed honest financial advice. People who deserved to have someone they could trust with their money. Sarah brought me lunch and sat down across from my desk. Any regrets? She asked. About what? Leaving Meridian Financial. Fighting Cross and Hamilton. Risking our safety to do the right thing. I looked out my window at the Phoenix skyline. In the distance, I could see the building where Meridian Financial used to be. It was empty now. The company had been shut down permanently after the investigation. No regrets, I said. Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. Why? Because it taught me something important. When you see something wrong, you have two choices. You can ignore it and hope someone else fixes the problem. Or you can stand up and fight for what's right, even when it's scary. And fighting for what's right is always the better choice, even when it costs you everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Rebecca. She had started her own accounting firm and was helping small businesses manage their money honestly. Lunch tomorrow, her message said. I have 3 new clients who need investment advice. I texted back, absolutely. We'll take good care of them. Because that's what honest people do. We take care of each other. We protect the people who trust us. And we never stop fighting for what's right. Even when the bad guys seem more powerful, good people always win in the end. Because the truth is stronger than any lie, and justice is stronger than any criminal. Hamilton, Jessica, and Cross learned that lesson the hard way. But I already knew it. That's why they could replace me. But they could never defeat me.